Alright, I'm going to start this video off of 10 records that really influenced me and I guess blew my mind when I was a preteen. From like, I don't know, 76 to 80. Anyway, first off, this is my Donkey Kong 3 cabinet, but what's inside is Donkey Kong. Like the board and the guts are all Donkey Kong stuff, but I thought the Donkey Kong 3 cabinet was better looking than the Donkey Kong cabinet, so I chose this one. And this is, I think, the world's only punk rock Donkey Kong machine. There's an advertisement for Frontier Records, a great record label. Angry Simone's. And these autographs here are autographs from when I went to a Donkey Kong championship in, I think it was, Denver, Colorado, and I had the stars of, what's that documentary, The King of Kong. Yeah, the King of Kong documentary. Here's some autographs of people who were in that, like Steve Wiebe and Hank Chin wasn't in it, but Walter Day, and there's George Riley. On the day that I was there, he got the high score on Donkey Kong 3, and he wrote down the scores, and he autographed it, and he wrote down the times that he got the scores. And anyway, on the side here, and we're getting to the thing that makes it a punk rock Donkey Kong machine. Oh, by the way, there's Sanford and Son, Futurama, Donkey Kong Jenga, Gwar, a Donkey Kong coffee mug, Friday the 13th, Part 2, little Jason action figure. Over here is, and I've shown this little monito before, that's Martin Prince from The Simpsons, and here's a Donkey Kong bank. Okay, let's get into it. So I took the original artwork off, and I put these stickers on it. Stickers of wild punk rock bands. And it would be great to walk into an arcade and see that their Donkey Kong machine looked or was decorated like this. And there's 2 Brujeria stickers, because when I ordered the Brujeria sticker, they sent me 2 of them. And the Angry Simones are on this thing twice too. And we'll end it with the Fabulous Adolescents. So, we're going to get into the 10 records that, when I was just a little kid, I had heard these things, and they changed my life, and I'm still influenced by them. So let's get into them. All right. Like I said before, these are the records that changed everything. And this is brought to you by Mr. Bluesky. And this is a beer from Detroit, made in Detroit. And on the can, it says, there are cities that get by on their good looks. Detroit has to work for a living. So that's the slogan for Griffin Claw Brewing Company in Detroit, Michigan. Let's see what this tastes like. That's all right. Kind of tastes fruity. Okay, let's set that right there. Let's get into these records. This one, Cheap Trick, Heaven Tonight. The first time I ever heard this thing, it just stuck with you. There was something about it. It was very different. And then Alive at Budokan came out, And that also was, unlike, a Kiss album or anything like that you'd heard before. And it made you pay attention to this band. And you found yourself listening to this a lot. And you found yourself judging other like new acts that you come across by, what Cheap Trick was doing. Okay, next up is Susie and the Banshees, The Scream. This one completely changed, I guess, your taste in like rock music. After listening to this, I, for one, could not go on listening to like Kiss or Boston or Led Zeppelin or AC/DC or anything like that. Not after hearing this thing. This thing kind of, turned my taste in, I guess, music or sound completely around. Okay, and I'm jumping around here. These are not in order as, I heard them. This is the Alice Cooper Show. This was the most entertaining record when I was a little kid. Hearing this thing was fun. It was exciting. It's falling out. Get back in there. Anyway, this thing, you found yourself listening to this a lot. And you were just endlessly entertained by this. It was just a great record. It didn't change the way that you looked at other bands, but it sure was a lot of fun. And you definitely, I'll remember this thing the rest of my life. And once in a while I play it. All right, here comes this monster. This thing. This, it changed the way you looked at, or, I guess it changed the way that you looked at things you heard on the radio. And it made, the difference with this thing is, it made you despise them. With the other records, you just thought, oh, that's not as good as, Susie and the Banshees or Alice Cooper. This thing, as far as I was concerned, this made you hate Captain and Tennille, Van Halen, what are some other, Meatloaf. Bands like this are like that. The Sex Pistols made you hate them. That was the turning point. Because they didn't sound like the Sex Pistols. Here's another group that made you feel the same way that the Sex Pistols record made you feel. And this is Stiff Little Fingers, Inflammable Material. I couldn't play this enough. You became pretty much obsessed with this thing, and you really started getting into like the harder punk rock bands after you heard this, especially when you were a little kid. Having a little cassette of this and playing it, like when you're 10 years old, you felt like the coolest kid in the world. You felt like you were, just so far beyond all the other kids in school. Now, the problem with this record, it's got a song called White Noise on it. The lyrics to the song don't go with, I guess, the theme of all the other songs on the album. And one of the other songs on the album is called Johnny Was, and that's a reggae song. The lyrics to White Noise are horribly racist. I wish I could, excuse me. Jeez. I wish I could talk to the band and just ask them, what were you thinking? Why is that song on there? Why would you even sing a song like that? But I'll probably never meet this band. But that aside, I think this is one of the greatest punk rock records ever made, because the other songs aren't like that one horrible song at all. This is about freedom fighting and fairness towards every every other person around you? It's kind of a mystery, but Stiff Little Fingers, inflammable material. Words can't describe how righteous that thing was. Okay, these are 2 albums, but as far as I'm concerned, they're one. And it's the Give 'Em Enough Rope and the first album by The Clash. This is the CBS version with 48 Hours and Protex Blue. I actually just ordered the American version that doesn't have those songs, and I don't think it has the song Cheat either. But those songs on the American version are replaced with better songs. So this, I guess, rarer CBS version is not as good as the most common one. But anyway, this thing, and this thing. And here we go. These 2 records, when these came out, AC/DC was a big thing. After listening to these 2 records, AC/DC was unlistenable for me. I mean, I don't know what it was about those 2 records. They were so great. And I think it was because everybody liked AC/DC. So, and you know, hardly anybody liked The Clash compared to the AC/DC thing. So I think it was almost like a battle of wills of some sort, because after hearing those 2 Clash records, I couldn't listen to AC/DC. I hated them for some reason. I know that sounds strange, but that's what those records did to me. All right, moving on. This masterpiece. This also, you listen to this thing 100 times, and your friends started to drift away. Not, I guess, at the rate they did when you got into like the Dead Kennedys and the Butthole Surfers, and then your friends just disappeared. And you didn't care because the Butthole Surfers and the Dead Kennedys are more important than friends, especially friends that you won't see after high school ever again. Anyway, this thing, every song on it changes the way you view rock music. And this kind of lets you know that rock music can go in a completely different direction and still be as exciting as this band. Devo was just as exciting as the Ramones. Even though they didn't sound anything alike, they were still in that punk rock excitement world. This album, I think this was, this might have been the first Ramones album I ever heard. I might have heard the other ones, but I'm really not sure. It was a long time ago. But I remember this thing just completely turning you on to, or turning you on to the idea of going to the record store and skipping past Scorpions, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, the early stuff that they put out. Thin Lizzy, even though I got nothing against Thin Lizzy. This thing just made you seek out more Ramones albums and any album that would be in the import bin at Tower Records. So, thank you, Joey Ramone. Okay, this thing. Swell Maps, A Trip to Marinville. This was along the same lines as the Devo record, letting you know that things can get really, really crazy and loud and strange and still be, I don't know, words can't, I can't describe how I felt when I heard this thing. Besides, none of my friends are going to like it, and I can't get enough of it. This is like an art punk band from England, and the songs on this, it's like they're trying, but in a manner that you'll never be able to figure out. where the Ramones, you can kind of tell, you know, what they're trying to accomplish. In fact, all these other bands, you can kind of tell what they're trying to accomplish. I don't know what these guys were trying to do. All I know is once I heard this thing, I made sure that I heard it again and again and again. I can't say enough about this record and how it let me know that really strange and weird stuff can be just as much fun and just as much of an inspiration as like the Clash or the Sex Pistols, who weren't strange and weird. They were just kind of aggressive. They were really aggressive, actually. So anyway, seek this thing out. I think I was probably 10 or 11 when I heard this thing. I haven't been the same since. I've just gotten stranger and stranger. Okay, last record. Of 10 records that blew my mind as a pubescent. This thing. I saw this thing at a friend's house once, and the songs on it aren't really any good. But the jacket, you weren't really addicted to listening to it, and these songs didn't change your life, but this record cover did. You couldn't stop looking at this thing. It was the most eye-catching record, this and the Alive record, when I was just a little kid, that you can imagine. And look at the inside of this. Once I saw this at my friend's house, I had to have it, even though I didn't really. There's another record. There's 3 of them. Even though I really didn't think that they were anything compared to that Sex Pistols record that I actually, the first time I ever heard that Sex Pistols record, jumping back and forth here, was on an 8-track tape that was sent to record stores. And this little record store in the little town that I grew up in, actually it doubled as a Radio Shack, it had that 8-track, and the guy gave it to me, and I wish I had it. Because I've never seen another one like it, and it was an 8-track of the Sex Pistols from Warner Brothers Records, but it almost looked like a bootleg, but it had the Warner Brothers little stamp on it. But there was no art to it like on the regular Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks record. It was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was yellow, and it was typewritten on there. Anyway, who knows if that's like the rarest Sex Pistols thing ever, but I remember playing that and just not being able to get enough of it, wearing the 8-track out, and it made you not like this anymore. But you still liked this because of the album cover. And you're just, and whenever you see old Kiss records, you just go, you know what, when I was a little kid, I just remember you couldn't take your eyes off those album covers and all the stuff that came in a Kiss album. So bands could learn something from Kiss as far as packaging a record and putting cool stuff in it and making the album cover look, striking. But don't take anything from them musically, please. These songs are all about girls and parties and I don't know what to say about it. Other than you gotta have this thing because it just looks unforgettable. There you go. And those are 10 records. It's right there. Those are 10 records that when I was just a little kid just completely blew my mind, and they were the catalyst for what I seek out today. And don't forget the beer that puts down all the other cities except for Detroit, and it does it right on the label. Okay, I'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed the video I put up earlier about going to J.C. Sebring's grave. It wasn't that far away from my house, but it was kind of complicated to get to that graveyard. That graveyard was massive. It seemed like it was the size of Seattle, and it was kind of fun, you know, after you found that grave that kind of looked littered and vandalized. But it was kind of fun to walk up there and see, you know, the J.C. Green grave and know that, you know, this was the dude at the Tate house during the Manson thing. Anyway, good night.